everyone, it's Zoe again from Stick It to Them Nails, and today we're going to do something a little different. I wanted to show you what I've been doing lately, which is making digital waterslide nail decals. So to cut a long story short, I won't bore you too much, but a while ago I hurt my neck actually from doing nails for too long, funnily enough, without taking breaks. So I still actually am having troubles with it, and so I haven't been making nails for a while. But I wanted to, obviously I still love nails, so wanted to keep doing something in the nail world, and it occurred to me that perhaps this could be something that could be helpful to people. So some of you out there would use waterslide nail decals and know what they are, and some people probably have no idea what I'm talking about. So waterslide nail decals are basically little sheets that you generally would buy from someone, and you chop the design out, dip the paper in water, and the backing will come off. Then you pick up the sheet that's left with the design on it and pop it on the nail, smooth it down, and then encapsulate it, and you get a pretty design or whatever it may be. So some people actually make them themselves, which is, I will show you another video. I will do another video on how to actually make them, but essentially you print out the design on your printer, inkjet or laser, and you print that on waterslide decal paper, and then you seal it with a acrylic spray, a clear acrylic spray, and then once that's dried, they are ready to use. So that part I will show you in a separate video, but the initial part is the making of the design in the first place that you can print out. So some people will be pretty handy with Photoshop and other programs and might be able to make them themselves. But for people that aren't, I thought I would step in and do a little bit of digital design, which I kind of enjoy anyway, and start creating some designs that you guys can actually purchase and then print yourselves and create your own decals. So the benefit of making your own waterslide decals is that once you have got your design ready or purchased the design, you can print that and make that as many times as you want. So I sell mine, most of them are $5. Etsy does add 50 cents for GST because I'm here in Australia. So $5.50, and once you've got that, you can print that over and over and over again and make as many of them as you want. Now, I will point out that these aren't for you to then on-sell to other people. That's not what I've created them for, so I don't have licensing for that. However, they are for you to use either on your own nails or to use on your clients in the salon. So obviously you charge for nail art when you do nail art. So each time you have, you print out one of these sheets, you get multiple designs, or multiple nails I should say, that you'll get out of each one, and you can charge your clients each time you use one, and it will end up probably a lot cheaper than buying, well, will end up a lot cheaper than buying sheets in all the time. So that is something else to consider about whether you want to go down the road of making your own. So I am just getting started with this, so there's not massive amount of designs ready just yet, but I am adding them all the time as I can. And I'm happy to take any requests for custom designs. If anyone has anything that they're after or would like me to try and make, I am not a complete genius when it comes to this stuff, but I can pull some things together. So if I can do it, then I definitely would be willing to. So just to let you have a look at, this is my Etsy page. So this is where is the best place to get them. And probably the most direct way to get to my Etsy page is to go to, and I'll pop a link down below, but go to etsy.com/shop/stick it to them nails. So you can, if you go to stickittotem.com.au, you will come up with this page. Now, I won't bore you with the details, but I've got Australian customers, click here, and international, click here. Australian customers, that takes you to my private website where the decals aren't actually on yet, but it offers things like Afterpay. the international page takes you to my Etsy shop. So you can just go to stickittoThem.com.au and click international customers, and that will take you to the Etsy shop where they are. Or as I said, you can click that other link, the direct link that I gave you before. So if you have a look, I've divided them into a couple of different categories. So there's a few shapes available. So if we have a look at going through a pastel goth phase at the moment. So let's look at these ones. So you have got, in each design, it will be available in a 30mm long oval shape for people who prefer the rounded sort of edges to try and line up with the cuticle. You can get the same length in a rectangle shape, so 30mm rectangle. If you want to try and use, some people might like that if there's a good part of the design in the corner, you might want to try and get all of that detail in. You want to use that corner, whatever it may be. So some people prefer the rectangles. The extra long, which is actually 60mm. So that's pretty long. And that one comes with the rounded corners. Or some of them, not all of them, depending on some of the designs that I used, I wasn't able to do a full sheet, but some of them will come in a full sheet. So these are good if you do a wide variety of different client nail lengths and you just want to be able to chop out, however long you need it, short, long, not waste any areas. That's pretty good for if that's your deal and how you work. So as I said, each design is available in at least those 3, if not the full sheet as well. So we've got over the side here 30mm digital nail decal. So that contains the rectangle and the oval shaped of the 30mm. Then you've got the extra long, which is the 60mm. So they're all in that category. Then we've got the ones that are available in full sheet. And I will say there are a couple, these two over here, are only available in the full sheet. So I'll show you those quickly. So this one's slightly cheaper just because it does have a empty space on it, and I felt a little bit rip-offy with that section there. So it is a little bit cheaper. But I thought that was pretty, so I did want to include it, but there was no point trying to put that on the 30mm or 60mm design template. So that is a full sheet. You can chop what you like. And a similar one here, this one's quite cute. It's got little butterflies, kind of a butterfly lace pattern there. So there's quite a few options there. I'm just going to close some of these because we're getting a little out of control. And then I'm just starting to get some bundles together. So what I'm going to do is offer some bundles of all 4 shapes. So for example, the reindeer one, I haven't got them together yet. If there's something that you're after and it's not up yet, please do let me know and I'll get it together as soon as I can. It's just a matter of getting time to create another listing and upload everything. And but I'm totally happy to do it. So yeah, this one would contain all of the shapes in the one pattern. And I've worked it out so you roughly get 1 free when you buy the bundle. So yeah, rectangle, oval, extra long, and full sheet. Or if there's only 3, you just get the 3. So anyway, that's that. Oh, and I do have the pastel goth design, or one of the pastel goth designs in a bundle. So this one here is the same as this one down here. Same design, slightly different colors. So I like them both, so I bundled them together. So I wanted to show you quickly the buying process and how you go about using and what you get when you buy one of these documents. So if you've used Etsy before and you have an account, then it's a good idea to sign in first. It makes it easier and I believe quicker to get your downloads. You don't have to be signed in, but it is better if you can be. So if you are signed in, when you have added to cart and purchased whatever you're after, it will take you straight away to the thank you for your purchase page, and it will have a link there that you can click on that will say download your files now or something along those lines. So you can click that, it will take you straight to the page that you download them and you can go from there. If you were signed in but you missed that page or closed it or need to go back later, up in the top corner here you can see there's a your account. If you click on that and go down to purchases and reviews and click on that, That will take you to all of your orders of things that you've bought before. And on the right hand side there, it will say download your files now. So that's another way to get it. If you're not signed in, and even if you are signed in, you will get an email at some point from Etsy, which will say, it will have a link to download your files. That usually is pretty quick, but it can sometimes take a little longer to come through. Check your junk mail folder if you can't find it, in your normal email folder, but it can take a little longer to come through, which is why I usually recommend that you are signed in when you buy so you can grab them straight away. So to explain what you get when you buy, let's open my little pastel goth Christmassy pattern here. He's cute. So when you buy, you pick your shape or bundle, whatever you're after, and add to basket, obviously, purchase the usual way. You will get 2 documents with each file that you buy. So you will get a strip like this, which is pretty much the same as what you would get if you were to purchase a ready-made sheet of decals. I have found that most places, I believe, have 12, so 3, 6, 9, 12. I have figured out that I could squeeze in an extra 3. So with each one of these single sheets, you'll get 15. So 15 nails of 30 millimeters. So you'll get 1 document with the single strip in it, and you'll get 1 document which is A4 sized, where I've placed multiple strips on it to get the most out of the page. So waterslide paper, waterslide decal paper is, it's not super cheap, but it's still cheaper than purchasing the strips of decals, ready-made every time you need to use them. But it's not super cheap, so you don't want to waste paper. So you have a couple of options. I would recommend, if you don't really use Photoshop or any editing programs and you're not really sure what you're doing, I would just take the A4 document and print it out on an A4 page and be done with it. And then you can keep this all aside. As I said, these aren't for on selling to people, but you can keep this sheet aside and have it in a drawer and pop it out whenever someone wants one, chop out the decal, and you're good. So that will last you quite a long time if you print out just a full A4 sheet of each design. If you do know what you're doing with I nearly said Photoshop, Photoshop, you could take, say you bought 4 or 5 different designs, you might choose to take the single designs and pop 4 or 5 of them on one A4 sized document and then print them all. So print 5 designs on one sheet and do it that way. So that's something, maybe you can do it in Canva. I'm not really sure, but that's something you'd have to sort of figure out how to do if you use any of those sort of software programs. But as I said, I would just recommend taking the A4 sheet and that's it. It's easy. It's perfectly sized to match the decal paper, so you don't need to shrink or enlarge or worry about anything like that. I will show you how to do that in a sec, but I did also want to say you have one other option, which I probably wouldn't recommend, but you can always try it and see how you go. You could take this single sheet document and print it on the A4 paper, and obviously it will just print this one bit and then the rest of the page will be blank. You could chop it out and then seal that one on its own and then keep the paper for the next time you want to print one sheet. The only reason I wouldn't recommend that is because I have heard, and I have had it happen a little bit, but I have heard that once you cut that page, so once you cut that A4 page, when you're sealing it, some of the spray can get in around the edges and actually seal the backing paper to that clear sheet or the clear part that your design is printed on, so they won't separate when you pop them in water. It may or may not happen to your paper brand that you use. You could experiment if you want to, but I would go ahead and just say don't do that unless you're willing to potentially muck up a few designs. But it's all trial and error, so you might find it works out fine with the spray you use, with the paper you use, whatever it is, but generally speaking, that's not a good idea. Okay, so when you look at a listing, you'll see exactly what you're getting. There is a quick little video that goes through showing you to print it at 100% or borderless if your printer allows you to do that. Make sure you wear a mask when you use the spray because they are very stinky and can't be very good for your lungs. So little video designs, a couple of pickies, showing you what to do. This is the spray that I've been using. I found it's really good. The decals don't get too thick as long as you don't spray too many coats. And it is pretty strong, I find. So, and a little flexible, I think, as well. So it's not like it hasn't broken when I've tried to stretch it over areas. It's pretty good anyway. I quite like it. So you might have made them before and know what to do and know what spray to use. So, but this is one that I've been using and it's pretty good. And then chop it out and use it like any other waterslide nail decal. So that's one of my extra long ones, extra long I should say, that I've chopped out there in that picture. So just to have a look at a few designs I've got up at the moment, I've popped up some Christmassy ones. I thought these ones up the top here were super cute because they kind of just look like a leopard print, but on closer inspection, they've got reindeers or candy canes or Christmas trees. Some pastel gothy ones. So there's a few different colors of those designs, another couple of Christmas leopard prints, more Christmas pastel goth. There's a theme going on here. And then some normal goth. So I love this design. This is a blue, it's called Blue Gothic, and it is just, I just think it's beautiful with the skulls and the flowers, and I love it. It is quite dark, but you can see the design, so I do really like it. We've got some villains going on over here. Some artwork, kitty cat fish bones, more pastel gold, Beetlejuice. I started making these around Halloween, hence the butcher's knives. Snow leopard, and this black lace pattern is actually, if you guys have seen my black lace nails, the ones I was selling as press-ons when I've been making press-ons, this is actually what the design that I used to create those nails. So when I did those nails, I did use a printer. I've got a nail printer, so it actually prints directly on the nails. So I used that, but this is the same design. So you'd get the same effect with this as I did with the printer. So that is that one. So how about I show you how to go ahead and print one. So to print them out, these are the two documents that you will get. I've just opened the extra long reindeer design. So you'll get a single sheet one, as I said, and you'll get an A4 sheet one. And this one just says A4 in front of it. So if we open up the single sheet, that's a bit big, but that is him there. So you'll get that. You can print that if you want, pop it into software, make it on an A4 page yourself, as I said before, or to make it nice and simple, you open up your A4 sheet. Let's just minimize that. So you just open up your A4 sheet and print that straight onto A4 paper. So you would go up here, File and Print, which is generally the same on most computers. Now ignore this, my printer is actually not connected to this particular computer, so that's why it's got a little alert there. But my printer does actually do borderless. So if you have a printer that allows you to print borderless, then you can actually select that option here. So you want to go for A4 paper, borderless. Now before I click that, I wanted to show you, somewhere in your print dialog box, you'll see that there will be a percentage of how big it's printing on that page. So generally, if your printer doesn't print borderless, it needs to leave a little gap at the edge because it doesn't have the ability to print right up to the edge. So it will generally shrink something by a little bit, and in this case it's 97%, so it's shrinking it by 3%. So it's not much, but you'll find that your designs, instead of being in this case 60 millimeters long, they might be a couple of millimeters shorter. which might not matter for the 60mm, it might matter for the 30mm, depending on what you're doing. But either way, if you want them to print out at the full proper size, you're going to need to get this to be 100%. So you've got a couple of options. One is, as I said, if you go over here and you click and you make it borderless, you'll see that that will go straight up to 100%. If you don't have the option for borderless, then you can go back to A4. You should be able to, wherever you find this, it generally will give you the option to change it. So on mine, obviously it says scale, and I can actually just click in here and manually change that to 100%. Oops, and I pressed enter. Let's go back. I should have just pressed tab. Yeah, you can go over here, enter it in manually, and it's 100%. So that's how you ideally want to do it. As I said, if you can't find that, if you can't do it, whatever it may be, worst case is your design might be a smidge shorter, maybe a couple of millimeters, depending on what it is. Everyone's printer is different, but I'm confident you guys will be able to figure it out. It's not too hard. So all that's left to do now is press print. So I will go do that on the printer that's actually connected to, on the computer, I should say, that's actually connected to the printer, and I will show you it printing. Okay, so we're at the printer, and I just want to show you, this is the paper that I use. So you will get two different types. So this one is clear, and I'm going to actually show you today, we're going to print the reindeer design, because I'm going to show you two ways to use it. So we're going to print it on clear, and we're also going to print it on white. So waterslide decal paper comes in obviously two types, well, kind of four types actually. So you can get it in laser for laser printers, and you can get it for inkjet printers. So don't swap them around, make sure you've got the right one, and you can use white or clear. So basically, if you print on white, anything in the background will be white. So if you print, say the reindeers, that design was on a white background. So if you print on the white paper, all the white part is going to come out white on this paper. On the clear paper, all the white will come out clear. So you will be able to use one that's printed on clear on a different background if you want to, or you could just paint the nail white. Even under, when you use the white paper, even under that, I still paint the nail white, because I have found that you get a more vivid, brighter image. The paper, it is white, but it is quite thin, and so I find that you can see through it a little. And I've tested the same design on on white paper on a clear nail versus on white paper on a white nail, and it is more vivid if you still paint the nail white, or at least a light background color to start with. So I will show you this reindeer design on two colors, but that's the basic upshot of the difference between the two papers. If I haven't made that clear, let me know and I will explain it further, but hopefully that makes sense. Anything white on your printed image will be white on the white paper and clear on the clear paper, because your printer, unless you have a fancy printer, it doesn't print white. So just remember that. So I'm going to show you the reindeer design. We're going to print it on both white and we're going to print it on clear, and these are good because they have it written here. If it didn't have it written there, I wouldn't know, because you can't tell the difference. So let's go ahead and print. So I'm popping in the white paper first. Obviously this one's pretty obvious which side to print on, but make sure that you print on the glossy side, if you can see that. So make sure you print on that side. Alright, so there is our cute little reindeers, all printed and lovely. So that is the white paper, and now we'll go ahead and do the clear one. And that is our clear one done. reindeers. As you can see, it looks exactly the same. Okay, so we're on to the next step, which is sealing. So I've got my Krylon Kmar varnish, so you need a clear acrylic spray. Glossy or satin, doesn't really matter. I think this one is glossy, so I use that one. I have my mask, which I haven't put on yet because it makes me muffly. I pop the sheets inside a box so I can pop the lid on, because I don't have a outdoor place which is clear of any wind. I wouldn't do it indoors, it really smells, it will stink out your house. So it's been a bit windy lately, so I've got this crappy box which I pop it in there, and I'll spray it in there to try and protect it from a bit of wind and things flying onto it, and then I'll pop the lid on it. And the other thing I have used, which I will do for the other sheet because I've got two to do, is I'll just move you back a little bit. There we go. This is just a painter's roller tray that you roll the roller thing in and then paint. There's a word for it, I don't know what it is, but I've just blue tacked the sheet to it, and I'll do it in there, and the same lid that fits on that kind of just will sit on top of that, and I can balance it in there. All right, so I've got my mask. I'm going to pop that on and I will seal it. So you want to do I find you don't want to do too many coats. I really sort of just try and go like top to bottom and then back up again just to make sure I've got it, but try not to put too thick a coat on. I don't follow the instructions. I did try that, it was too thick. Still worked, but it was a bit too thick. So yeah, pretty much just one coat, and you want it to be so that it looks quite smooth, but not super thick and not really thin. Okay, so I have just checked this one and it is fully dry. The other one in the box, when it's closed, takes a little longer to dry, probably because there's no airflow. So I'll pop that open, but this one's ready to go. All done, and you can now start chopping this up and using it on your nails. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. If you liked it and it was helpful, please give us a thumbs up, and I will catch you in the next video, which will be me showing you how I apply these. So I'm going to do both the clear and the white, and we'll apply them to a couple of different colored nails and see how they go. Thanks guys, take care, bye.